Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Shred and Soul.
I'm Shred, aka Kevin Wood.
And I'm Soul, aka Wind Hughes. Well, again, we have an exciting episode for you. You may have seen in a previous episode our guest, Brian Anthony Orlando, who is back again. He has written a book called Rock and Roll Tarot, interpreting the cards through the universal language of music. And he talked about this in this previous episode. And Brian is an amazing guy who we met a long time ago. But this book focuses on his tarot readings. He's a medium, psychic as well, and reads the cards. And in the book, he assigns a particular rock and roll song to each of the cards, one that expresses the meaning. And he has the background to do that because for over a decade, he was the morning show on 94.3 The Shark in the East Coast until recently. So he has so much experience with music, and you'll see in this episode, we recorded this episode yesterday, that in this episode I mention a song that I associate with what we were talking about towards the end of the episode, and he immediately knew the song and knew the lyrics and cited lines from the song. He's just
Quite uncanny, really.
yeah, this real deep, knowledgeable person and wise soul.
And very intuitive. And yeah, definitely a psychic. And he's going to give us a general overall reading for what's going on now in our world. So yeah, it's really going to be fascinating.
Yeah, and listen to the end. He really gives us some insight and some suggestions as to how to navigate what's happening in the world today. And he literally does a spread, and some amazing synchronicities come up, which you will see, which were not planned, they were not staged. The cards he pulled were absolutely, genuinely pulled just then. And you'll be blown away at what comes up.
Yeah. So let's check that out.
Okay, here you go, Brian Anthony Orlando. Well, here he is. We've been talking about him now for weeks and having Brian Anthony Orlando back. He's a busy guy, so you may hear his music right now. He's in a public place because he has readings constantly that he is trying to keep up with. We reached out to Brian again because we talked about it when you were on last time, checking in as things happen in the world. And this is the year Firehorse. We're entering a new cycle. It's every 60 years. And we thought, who best to check in with than you? And maybe see what the cards say.
I always have shied away from astrology because there just always seemed to be too much of it. It's like, okay, this is the year of the fire horse. And then you heard all of this talk, this legend about it. There's going to be abrupt change. It's going to be uncomfortable. You could move forward, but you have to embrace the change, and it's not going to be easy. It's basically painful energy. And, you kind of shrug your shoulders and go, okay, well, that could be every year of my life. I've been divorced twice. Those are fire horse years in my mind. But the fire horse started. And not even a week later, I was let go from my job at the radio station that I was at for the last 12 years. And I remember thinking to myself, all right, there's something to this fire horse energy. This is definitely a legit thing. And the the way the way I looked at it from the moment they told me was that it was a blessing. And there is a thing as toxic positivity. Like, I can't stand people that want to look at you in the middle of a tragedy and say, "Oh, but it's for the greater good." Oh, it's a wonderful thing, because when you're going through it, you can't see that. But this energy is so abrupt, and this period of time is full of so much change, that if you do not look at the positive in the change, you're going to go insane. It's going to eat you up. The first thing that I thought of when they said, "We're letting you go, we're going to syndicate another morning show in your slot," was, I get to sleep. I don't get to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning anymore. That's the start.
Right.
For years, I have been trying to make a transition into becoming a full-time psychic. I wrote a book on it. You guys had me on to talk about that. I wanted to do less radio and more. There it is. Thanks, Kev. I wanted to do more one-on-one healings, group readings, and things like that, but I allowed myself to once again embrace whatever change happened at the radio station. They brought in new managers. This time it was going to be different. Nothing was ever different, and the year of the fire horse represents the tower. The tower is a card that, if you know anything about tarot at all, you cringe when you get it. You cringe because you know that the change is not just coming, but it's going to hurt. The tower is abrupt change and usually represents, well, it's sudden change, but it represents unexpected change. And the truth of the matter is, whenever the tower comes up, it's not, it should never have been unexpected. It's only unexpected because your head was in the sand. It's only unexpected because you have been avoiding the changes that you needed to make. And now the universe is saying to you, I'm going to do it for you. And that's basically what happened. The year of the fire horse began. I was let go from a job that I no longer felt in alignment with. I no longer felt was right for me. And rather than be angry about it, I have to look at, the amount of time I now get to focus on other things. I'm writing my second book. I have a much better relationship with my friends and family because I'm not grumpy all of the time, which is what happens when you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning. But this fire horse change is something that we're all going to experience. You can believe in astrology, you can deny any of this metaphysical stuff, but we're all going to be going through abrupt change. Anybody that you talk to feels uncomfortable right now. I mean, out where you guys are, it must feel similar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
absolutely does. And I think most people we talk to, or my clients that I work with, most people, especially people really paying attention to what they're feeling and sensing in their bodies and their hearts and their souls, are really feeling that it's unsettling. Some are excited for the possibility of change, and other people are really frightened.
Yeah. Or anxious.
And I can't sit here and lie to you and say that I don't think about the fact that if I leave radio altogether, or even just the fact that I've left a life that I've known for 15 years, that it's not frightening. The energy surrounding us when it comes to changes like this will always be frightening. People stay in relationships far too long, knowing that it's not serving them anymore, knowing that it's even outright dangerous because they're just afraid of the change. And no matter how dangerous something may be while you're going through it, changing feels even more dangerous. And that's what we're all going through right now, is the major changes that we have to make, the major decisions that will open up doorways and alter the paths that we take are not pretty. They're going through these, like losing a job or walking away from a relationship or reinventing yourself in a whole new vein is a frightening thing. But what do you want to do? Sit in stagnation? You want to waste more years uncomfortable, unhappy, and getting nowhere? And this fire horse energy, I feel like it's going to pick up everybody that can handle it, that can take it. It's going to take everybody else along the ride anyway, whether they want to or not. But we'll see when we get to the finish line who can withstand the heat.
Speaking withstanding heat, um,
I'm in a kava bar, by the way, guys. I apologize.
that sounds good to us. I hope you had some kava.
As we speak.
Okay, good. So the world, kava is good to have when we're looking at the world situation, that we're all experiencing right now. And I know that in these 60-year cycles, political change has happened. Say 1966 was when China's Cultural Revolution started. 1906, there was the Chinese upheaval too. And you look at the cycles, stuff has happened. And definitely we're in a time of change right now. And again, depending upon where you're looking at it, some people are very excited about it, some are not. But I know it fits a lot of the words, like a warning cycle,
Yeah.
volatility, unpredictable, and yet also opportunity for transformation, all those things. So I know other astrologers are looking at this and the leaders involved and what their charts say, and everything basically is parallel and aligned with what it says for the fire horse. So if you were throwing a spread for the world right now, or you could right now, what would it say?
We're going to start with the tower. And what I want to say before we begin anything is the best transformation that you could make starts with you. The world is going to do worldly things, whether you accept it, associate with it, participate in it, or not. And the number one change that I have seen ever since 2020, ever since COVID, is more than ever, we have allowed our politics, our personal opinions, our anger and frustration at things that we have no control of to affect things that we do. I have family members that won't speak to each other anymore, depending on what color hat they're wearing. I have friends that no longer speak to each other, throwing away 30-year friendships. And this change, this fire horse change is going to happen. But don't allow the energy in the air to affect every single thing around you. Don't allow all of this change to push away the people that could be there for you and help you through it. So we're going to start with the tower because the change is abrupt. The change is inevitable, but it's unsettling. We just saw gas prices spike up. We don't know what's going on. War is here and war is also looming. So if you're watching this reading, what we are focusing on today is advice on how to navigate through all of the changes happening in the world. This is for you watching, this is for all of us. So immediately, the lovers in reverse comes up, and we just talked about relationships and how to handle them. You don't need a psychic to tell you that we are going to lose some sort of friendship, relationship, family through this period. We're going to be in the middle of some stuff between the wars and what's going on with immigration. People have strong opinions on this. We are going to lose family members. We are going to lose friends over this. What I'm saying to you is you don't have to. There is not a thing that any psychic, there's not a thing that anybody says to you that you cannot control your own emotions to. Ask yourself before you take another step, is this person voting for somebody I don't agree with? Is this person whose opinion radical is so radically different from mine change the fact that they were there for me? Because I feel we are pushing away and are losing the people that can help us through this. And that's the number one thing. Okay. The
Thanks for
seven of
that.
thank you. The seven of wands in reverse next to the lovers. Again, where we're judging too much. We're judging based on how we're being told to judge. We have compartmentalized everything. If you vote for Trump, you're a Nazi. If you vote for Kamala, you're a communist. You have nothing in the middle. Like right now, and this doesn't just apply to politics. Right now, you are approaching life in a labelistic way. I don't even know if labelistic is a word, but you're labeling everything. You are separating everything into groups and just letting them sit there. There is no there's no fostering of ideas because you're not hearing what other people are saying. You don't feel like you can get anything across. And before the full sentence is spoken, you've already made your opinion on not just what's being said, but why it's being said, who that person is, all based on one belief. And we have erased collaboration, inspiration. And this is going to be that time where if you can move past all of the fundamental differences that you have and listen to what somebody else has to say, you will benefit because nobody else is collaborating. If you could find the wherewithal to collaborate right now, even with people you vehemently disagree with, you will wind up coming out of this energy, coming out of this cycle a much better person, and perhaps with new ideas that can help you in the future. Why are we so limited right now? Why are we constantly walking into dead ends? Why are we always repeating ourselves when it comes to other people? Well, I trusted this person again, and look what happened. You know, we're not we're not hearing from the collective. We're only hearing from echo chambers. And that's going to be the fundamental difference throughout this energy. The Empress. Now, Wind, I know you can, without a doubt, relate to and associate with this. So, in the end, I feel that it will be a more feminine energy that gets us through this. And I don't mean that masculinity is dead and should disappear. As a matter of fact, I feel that part of the problems we have in the world is we have labeled all masculinity as toxic and have sort of taken away the protective nature of masculinity. But in this particular situation that we're in, what the Empress to me represents is not just femininity, but an appreciation of what femininity represents. It's okay to be a little vulnerable, and that is your strength. Every one of us right now will not admit we're wrong. Every one of us right now will not listen to anything anybody else has to say, because the second you do, it takes away from these fundamental beliefs that have been shoved down our throats. Left, right, Democrat, Republican, you know, religious, atheist, all of it, you name it, we're not listening to each other. You know, monogamous, polygamous, whatever, every aspect. To me, the Empress in this time represents an invitation to be vulnerable to other people's ideas, to be vulnerable to the possibility of being wrong, of being of a position where you can change and of a position where you can grow from it. I mean, let's face it. And granted, I lived with two extremely strong-willed women in my life, but when it came to having to be sympathetic, it was never my dad that says, "All right, let's hear what he has to say." It was always mom and grandma. You know, they cursed a lot, but it was at the same time, chill the f out and let's just talk it over. Let's just listen. And to me, that's pretty much what the Empress represents. Now, before I go any further, how do you guys feel about all of this?
In the world or you're reading?
What we're talking about right now, can you relate to it at all? Do you have uh, examples as to how this is affecting you?
The echo chamber that you mentioned, I think the minute you pick up your phone, you're entering the echo chamber. You know, you're fed what you click on, and what you click on is what basically how you align. You know, if you align with the Democrats, then that's going to be your feed. If
Yeah.
you align with the Republicans, that's going to be your feed. And then you see so much of it, you just can't comprehend another person's point of view. I think you're spot on with that.
And I really appreciate your, talking about the polarities, those things that create the tension and the mistrust between us. And very much the Empress to me,
Mhm.
the warrior queen is how I like to think of her, the Empress. One of her strengths is her ability to surrender attachment, surrender the
Yep.
thoughts, and the same with the philosopher king. Those leaders, that energy means that we're going to have strength and conviction. We're going to be
Yeah.
strong and lead. We also are going to surrender, and it takes the ability to surrender to hear that other opinion you're talking about, and also to surrender our attachments to our fears and our thoughts so we could tap into the collective, that higher aspect. So I think what you said, I very much relate to and appreciate.
It's funny because Kevin mentioned the moment you pick up your phone. I've been going to the gym. One of my transformations is I'm trying to get my fat ass back in shape, and I see it all of the time. Today, I'm on the treadmill, and to pass time, I counted the minutes this woman in front of me spent on her phone at a workstation rather than working out. And two or three full songs would go by. And, maybe it doesn't sound like a lot, but somebody else might want to use that equipment. And I mean, she's like this and she's just watching. So could have been a video or whatever it was, but we have not unplugged from the matrix in years, and it's only getting worse. Like, what is so important that you have to stare at the gym while you're trying to better yourself? And I can almost guarantee you, and then you look around and everybody's doing this. So it's either stupid TikTok videos of people dancing or some sort of news information. The news is going to happen. This 60-year cycle, the fire horse is going to happen whether we want it to or not, whether we're ready for it or not. So, especially in a situation like the gym, where you could be preparing your body, your mind, your overall spiritual health, you'd rather plug into this crap. You have an opportunity right now to better yourself, and you're not because you're letting this distraction get in the way of all of it. I mean, you see it. I do it. I'm guilty of it. The light turns red real quick. Did anybody text me?
Yeah.
You
I know I'm
know,
guilty of it too. It's like I get a break at work and I grab the phone and I'm saying, "What's going on?" I have I played a little experiment on my phone. I started clicking on everything that comes up from Japan, Japanese writing. I don't understand a little bit any of it, but now
Is that what you're getting?
that's what I'm getting. I mean, it's just an experiment, but some of it's kind of amusing.
Can I ask a rock and roll question?
dude.
Right, because of course your book, which we mentioned in the beginning, Rock and Soul Tarot. I'm thinking in my head as you're talking, all of a sudden songs are popping up for this time, and one that came to was Buffalo Springfield, For What It's Worth.
For what it's worth.
Stop, hey, what's that sound? Everyone look what's going down. And then what's the one who did it? On the Eve of Destruction.
Barry Maguire. That was a cover, but he had the most
Yeah.
well-known cover.
Yeah, so those songs just popped in my head. So I want to ask you, do you have at the moment a song that comes to mind that might represent for you this reading and what's going on right now?
Drive. Drive by the Cars.
Oh,
Who's going to tell you when it's too late? Who's going to plug your ears when you scream? Who's going to be there for you when the crap hits the fan? That song was written about somebody, being in love with an alcoholic and not being able to reach them. But I feel like we're all drunk right now. I feel like that every single one of us is impaired in the sense that we are just not getting it. We are not understanding it. I mean, we've all been drunk before. You ever try to argue with a drunk person? I feel like that's what's happening in the world. You just can't win, but while all this stuff is happening and the tower falls and the fire horse rages, we're still going to need people around us. You can't push everybody away. You can't just dismiss people because they don't agree with you. And these are some of the people that have been there for you in the past that you're forgetting about now, that can be there for you when the crap hits the fan. Who's going to drive you home tonight? What are you going to do? You'd rather get in the car with somebody you agree with than somebody that you trust knowing where they're going, that has the directions. The funny thing, when you say Barry Maguire, Eve of Destruction, there's a line at the very end where he says, "Love your next door neighbor, or hate your next door neighbor, but don't forget to say grace." And even as a little kid, that stood out to me. The hypocrisy of it all. The Hatfields and the McCoys, they went into church, they left their guns outside, they say hallelujah, praise God, then they go out and they shoot each other. You know, that's the thing right now, is that we're all holding on to our belief systems so badly that we're screwing each other over and not recognizing that. Like, I don't give a crap whether you're a Democrat or Republican. Don't sleep with my wife. That's what it comes down to. But we have lost, and I'm going through it with my own family members that don't want to speak to each other anymore. And again, who's going to drive you home tonight? You're forgetting that you spent decades with these people, sometimes in the same house, just because you don't agree anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, good point.
So we have a little bit of time left. Can I have a little fun with this?
Let's do it.
I don't know if it's fun for me to ask even this question. It might not be a fun card. If you were to, could you draw a card for the USA? Like, okay, this being we all live in right now, the USA, can we understand where she's at and maybe how we can support her?
While we are keeping everything else, so we'll just keep it as a part of the reading. Ah, and the Emperor comes
Oh,
out.
wow.
So I'm going to go back to something that I said before. We have to stop acting like one is better than the other. I hear it all. I'm going to give you an example. It was the gold medal game of the Olympic hockey between the US and Canada. It's 8 o'clock in the morning here in New York, and the bar was packed. It was a big deal. Everybody came together to watch the USA do something they haven't done in 46 years. And against Canada, who have owned us in the hockey world forever. And there's a girl sitting next to me, and she was fine. But a guy had dropped his beer, like he broke it on the ground. So he's trying to clean it up, and she's chiming in, going, "Oh, typical male, leave it, leave it. What are you bothering? Leave it." And I'm like, what does being a male have to do with not wanting somebody to step on glass? Because it was 8 o'clock in the morning and some people came in their pajamas. But again, we are programmed at this point, man versus woman, uh, Democrat versus Republican. And when you watch sitcoms, when you watch even cartoons, men over the past 20 years have been taking a beating. It's always the bumbling male, this stupid idiot guy, and the woman that's got to swoop in and fix everything. And I think it's a big problem in this world because we have conditioned young women. This woman had to be in her 20s to automatically think anything a guy does is dumb, to automatically think that what you're doing just because you're a woman is better. I don't give a crap whether you stand up or sit down to pee. I'm not going to judge you based on your gender. However, I will think I'm smarter or dumber than you based on what you say to me. And I think that what we can all learn from this card right now is we have to stop acting as if we are each other's enemies. We have to stop acting as if just because you are a man or of a certain nationality or of a certain occupation, even, that you can't learn from somebody else. You see this all the time. You're a man. You don't have an opinion. You shouldn't have an opinion on this. And look, there are some heavy subjects, and screw it. We're talking about it. Like, I will never tell a woman what to do with her body. But I've heard way too many times over the years recently, you're a man, you don't get an opinion. No, we all have opinions on all kinds of things. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, where we need to start allowing people with different perspectives. Like, look, when I struggled with alcohol, I didn't go to other alcoholics to get their opinion. I went to people who never had a problem with alcohol to learn how they deal with life because I wanted to see things from a different perspective. And I'm not saying that going to AA is a bad thing and being around people that understand what you're going through is bad. But I also, in addition to that, wanted to hear from people who did things radically differently. If I want to learn how to be a millionaire, I'm not going to talk to my friends because none of them are millionaires. I want to find a millionaire, right?
Right.
So the emperor, to me, based on what Wynn was talking about, is a message to all of us to stop believing in the media's idea that we are all enemies for one reason or another, that a man couldn't have good advice for a woman, that a woman couldn't have good advice for a man, that we all couldn't have something to teach each other. Stop with this eradicating of structure of, I'm a guy. Nicole will still walk on the inside of me when we walk down the street. Now, she makes a fantastic living, and I ask her opinion about a lot of things. But when it comes to protection, it's still my instinct to walk on the outside. You see too many times now. You don't need to hold the door open for me. You're perfectly capable, but there's still some structure that if we go back to a little bit, I think will make the world a better place because it will automatically put it into our minds that to it's okay to accept and invite different opinions into our lives.
Well, you pulled in strategic positions the Empress and the Emperor.
15 minutes apart, we had
Oh,
the yin and yang. I
yeah.
pulled the Empress, and then the next card of this entire deck was the Emperor.
And
Yeah,
so here we have what you're talking about, which is, the coming together, not
yeah.
getting caught in the polarity. So, two embodiments of polarity, male, female. And you pull the most powerful aspects, basically, of them both. And what you're saying is, as guidance, is releasing some of the polarity and coming together, learning from each other. And I like putting them now side by side in this reading, like bringing these two powers together within us, ourselves, and within our communities and with each other. It's together as leaders and being able to surrender to each other that we're going to move through this fire horse. So I'm really smiling that you have both of those goals.
Yeah, I mean, you look at other countries and there's a mess happening everywhere. I keep hearing, well, what we need in this country is a female president. I'm not opposed to a female president, but a female is not the answer. Anyone with the answers is the answer because Europe has had quite a few female leaders and they're just as screwed up as we are. So the answer is not in any one thing. It's a collective of ideas and who can formulate that into a plan. I don't give a crap what the gender of our next president is. I want it to be a president that can keep us at peace, that can keep our energy costs down, that can allow more opportunity. Whoever that is doesn't give a flying leap to me. Just be somebody that we can all agree is our future. That's the big thing. I mean, you just hear it too many times now. I have a good friend that worked for a retail company, and a couple of years ago, they got a new CEO. And most people will go, "Oh my God, it's a woman. It's a woman CEO. Isn't this great?" And my friend, who's also a woman, said, I don't care. Can she do the job? And the truth was, she sank the company. They made all these radical changes in her image and she sank the company. Now, that wasn't because she was a female,
Mhm.
it was because she was wrong for the job.
Yeah.
Let's just go back to who's best for the position. It doesn't have to be of a color, a gender, or race.
Out of control. Everyone's got
Yeah,
a label and they got to stick to that label and,
yeah.
make that be the most important thing.
And it's wasting valuable time and it's wasting valuable ideas.
Well, in closing, well, one thing I want to ask before
Sure.
you and do it in closing is what's going on with your second book? Talk about, yin yang, positive, and now the cards in reverse. It's your second
Sure.
book, right?
No, the reversals of tarot will be my third book. My
Okay.
second book is called The Morning After, Mourning, mending through mediumship with music. So it's similar to the first book with the music aspect, but it's using certain songs and certain experiences to feed the energy of our past loved ones and to help understand messages. So in the book begins with a true story of watching my grandfather pass away. When my grandfather passed away, he and I were on the worst of terms. We hadn't spoken in quite some time. We sort of had an unspoken reconciliation, but he was too weak at the time, and then he was in hospice care in his own home. And I was adamantly against him being there. I did not want him passing away in the house because I didn't want my grandmother to see it. They were married 60 years. So the last time him and I had a fight, I walked out of the house, I turned on the car, and the first song that was playing on the radio was Anarchy in the UK by the Sex Pistols. And I was pissed off. The engine starts, and I just right into verse, Johnny Lydon, right into verse. I am the Antichrist. I am an anarchist. That's how I felt. I hit the gas. Halfway through the neighborhood, I'm thinking to myself, this is a retirement community. This is probably the first time the Sex Pistols have ever been played on these streets. So you fast forward to when he died, we're all surrounding the bed. The only person that wasn't there was my father because he was on his way up from Florida. So my uncle, my aunt, my grandmother, and a hospice nurse. And death is ugly. His body had been shutting down for hours, and for probably the last 90 minutes, my aunt and uncle, my grandmother were all saying, "It's okay, let go. You can let go. You can go to the light." Now imagine that for over an hour, and then he takes his last breath. I mean, the silence was deafening. So like he takes his last breath. You heard the rattle. His head goes to the side, and we're all staring. And my grandmother, her eyes would not look away. So my uncle looks at her and goes, Ma, you okay?" And she doesn't blink. She doesn't move. Now I'm furious because I'm like, this is what I didn't want. She's never going to recover from this. And he looks at her again. And he goes, Ma, are you okay? And it was like a pregnant pause. And then she looked and she goes, why are you whispering? What do you think? You're going to wake him up? And so within 45 seconds, she's cracking her first joke after losing her husband of 60 years. And I knew everything was going to be okay. But when I left that, yes, oh, my grandma Jean was one tough one. When I left, I remember putting on the Sex Pistols on my way home, and I wasn't angry anymore, but it was my way of releasing all that emotion.
Mhm.
And now, a song that you would never associate with a World War II veteran born in 1923 is that Sex Pistols song. And when I hear it, when you feel like you're not supposed to, when you're walking down the street and it's playing from somebody's car stereo, you know that he's there. You know, and that's the type of thing that the book addresses. You're not crazy that these things are happening, that you're hearing these songs, that these numbers are coming
Right.
I'm glad I
That's
asked.
awesome.
Yeah,
up.
there are two books in the works. The second one and
Yeah.
going to the cards in reverse for book number 3.
So I teach a tarot card class every Wednesday. I'm actually working on a virtual version so that you guys would be able to join us and we're going to do it online. But the notes from that class, teaching the cards in reverse, are all complete. So when it comes time to write the third book, I just have to put it together. It's already written.
Excellent.
Nice.
Well, I mean, we mentioned it a bit in the beginning.
Sure.
Where can people reach you for a reading? We'll put it in the description as well.
Yeah, so you can text me for availability, 631 317 8441. 631-317-8441. If you don't feel comfortable texting me, my Instagram is Orlando0616. Either of them, I'll answer any questions. I do readings through Zoom, or if you don't feel like doing your hair that day, we could do it on the
Okay. Okay, that sounds great. Anything then to tie together for you in closing? Any pearls of
phone. Well,
wisdom?
I could say this, I miss you guys, and it's the type of thing where every time I talk to you, I'm reminded of the same thing, the hospitality that you guys have showed me in your own home. And I feel like now is the time where no matter who you are or what your friendships have looked like in the past, there is somebody that misses you. There is somebody that you can reconcile with in some way. And now more than ever is the time to do it. You don't have to be best friends again. Relationships don't have to go back to what they were, but reach out to somebody and you'll feel better.
Well, and since now you have more time, we have a guest room in the Redwoods. What better place to work on writing a book?
I would love to see you. I miss you guys. I would love to see you guys. It would be a lot of fun to spend more. I mean, I remember I flew in. I almost drove off a mountain because it got so dark. We hung out that night. I went back. I would love to spend a couple of days and hang out.
It'd
That'd
be
be
great.
great, man.
And then, the world's going to keep spinning and the fire horse is going to keep firing and horsing, and we'll have you back because I really appreciate your wisdom and what you share from the cards and also from the depth, of your awareness and wisdom. I love it.
You guys have to meet Nicole. She won't bring the sound bowls all the way out there, but I mean, she's a sound healer too. You guys have so much to talk about. Like, I can't wait till we all get together.
So hugs till next time.
Well, how about that? I thought that was amazing. The Empress and the Emperor back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally unplanned,
Yeah.
synchronistic.
I even asked him off camera. Okay, Brian, did you stage that or was that real? Like, no. That was really what I pulled.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe him. Beautiful reading. And the Empress and the Emperor. Two very, very powerful cards, and both representing, in a sense, the energies that are carrying us forward and what we need to do going forward. Again, his book, which I'll put the link for it in the description, Rock and Roll Tarot. You'll love this book. It's very personal. It's autobiographical, and as I said, every card has a song associated with it. And he, said to put his phone number. He gave it to you in the video. So I will put it in the description as well, and where you can find him to buy his book and to also sign up for a reading. He's really wonderful at his tarot readings, and his insights and psychic abilities add to that as well.
Yeah, and watch for more books. We know that he's working on more books, and yeah, it was a very honorable thing for him to show up and be our guest, and we can't wait to have him on again.
Yeah, we will for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so thank you, Brian. We love you, man. And we will have you back on as soon as possible, especially as this world spins in the directions that it's spinning.
Yeah.
And it's great to be able to call you a friend.
Absolutely. So subscribe and like and
Comment.
and comment. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, we found out, remember, you have to have a Google account, Google email account in order to comment and subscribe. So if you're a listener and you wonder why you can't, go ahead and just sign up for a Google email, and you'll have access then to all the things on YouTube and Google easily. So sorry for those of you who said they want to subscribe and haven't been able to leave comments. And yeah, it turns out that you have to have a Google account, an email to do that. So go ahead and get your email so you can subscribe to. It's free, and get all of the notifications for upcoming episodes and when the new ones come up.
And by all means, if that's not your bag, just watch the videos. That all adds up too.
Yeah, and share them. Share them with your friends, with your grandma, with your grandpa, with your kids. All right, till next time.
Okay, bye.